I got some true stories.
Here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium,
from Knoxville. First pitch of the inning, Blake Burke, good night, diving catch made by Christian Scott. Hit well out towards left field, on its way, goodbye.
This one shot out to center field. It is a long blast off the monster out there.
Here's on the run, he lays out and makes a sensational grab. Low down to left, that's a no-doubter. Balls in front. Griffin Merritt, another two-run homer.
They have exploded, and they about to tear this place down.
this is Tennessee baseball.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into First Pitch Friday, presented by UT Knoxville alumni and Tennessee Athletics. Thanks for joining us for our virtual pep rally as we get ready to beat the Commodores this weekend. I'm Brian Rice, UT alumnus and radio personality here in Knoxville. I'm actually coming to you live from Avalon here in deep west Knoxville, where I was on hand today for the Philip Fulmer Golf Classic, another great event with a lot of VFLs around. Our event today would not be possible without our partners and sponsors, including Cellular Sales, Coca-Cola, Farm Bureau, First Horizon, Food City, Graduate Knoxville, Graphic Creations, Pilot Company, PYA, Threads, and UT Medical Center. Now let's get rolling. Today's highlights include an interview with VFL and the latest inductee into the Tennessee Athletics Hall of Fame, Chris Burke. We'll have an interview with Redmond Walsh, our keys to the game, highlights, and much more. Also, be sure to stick around with us until the end of the show when we announce the Lucky Vol Fan of the Week that's going home with the Tennessee Prize Pack. Well, as we get ready for in-state rival Vanderbilt, we caught up earlier this week with a member of the Tennessee coaching staff, and that is VFL Redmond Walsh.
When you look at the staff, I mean, you look at the numbers and they've been great, but it's the competitiveness in them. It's kind of the willingness to, no matter what the score is or what happens behind them, just keep fighting and keep going on. You see that from the starting pitching, and it goes in deep into the game with your bullpen. And that's just been one of the things that Coach Anderson's instilled in us, is just competitiveness. And no matter what's going on, whether you're getting hit around or walking, just to compete up there. No, it's one of those things, especially when you look at the pitching staff. They've kind of bought into some of the guys like Chase Dellender and Chase Burns and their work ethic. And it's one of those things that they go in every day and they kind of, how they take about their arm care, how they take about their at-bats, how they take about how they take the mound. It's just going in every day with the mindset of getting better and having that work ethic. Yeah, it's those Vandy boys. Those guys are, like you said, in-state rivalry. It's one of those places you either go to Vandy or you go to Tennessee if you're in the state of Tennessee. And it's one of those places. Last year we go up there and we take 3 from them, so you know they're going to come down here ready to take 3 from us. You go out there every day competing against those guys, and where they are right now with a great pitching staff and their lineups getting hot, top of the SEC, it's a team that you want to take down and you want to beat, and at least go out there and compete. I want to thank Vol Nation for all the support you've given us this year. We're excited to see you out at the park this weekend and for the rest of this year. Go Vols.
We appreciate Redmond Walsh for giving us a few minutes of his time this week. Now we're pleased to be joined by VFL and the newest inductee into the Tennessee Athletics Hall of Fame, Chris Burke. Chris, thanks so much for giving us some of your Friday. I know it's a busy broadcast schedule for you right now, but I want to start with that Hall of Fame induction. What did it mean to you to be in this elite company as a Hall of Famer at the University of Tennessee?
Very grateful, very surreal moment. I think that probably covering the game makes me even more grateful, just because I see how many great players' careers can go different directions and have some bumps and twists and turns and injuries and all the things that can go wrong. And I think about, wow, there is no smooth sailing to any career. the fact that I was able to play from the day I walked on campus, the fact that I was able to play in a program that was perfectly suited for my style of play, but two coaches that just let me run and let me be aggressive and never overcoached me, but also really gave me a ton of advice on how to get better. There's a balance there. And, Coach Delmonico and Coach Simcox were very good yin and yang, and Slim was always there for you. And Coach D was always there to push you. And Coach D, I've said this a million times, there are no perfect coaches, but Coach D was the perfect coach for me. And he really knew how to press my buttons. And he was really good at it. And he used to throw Todd Helton in my face all the time. And that just really motivated me, and he also pushed me to places where maybe I didn't even think I was able to go. And I think a big reason I hit 20 home runs my junior year is because he encouraged me to think that I could do that. And I don't think many head coaches would have done that for a kid that was a leadoff hitter. So grateful to play with a bunch of great players that together we were able to go to Omaha, which again, doing what I do now with ESPN, very fortunate to play in Omaha so that when I sit in that chair in the College World Series, I speak with firsthand experience, so that's, just something that you can't possibly know how big a deal that is. I mean, you just are so excited to play there as a player, but then when you get in the world of broadcasting and you can speak with firsthand experience, you just so grateful that we were able to do that. And so, there's a million people I wanted to thank and a million people that got me to that moment. My parents, my wife, so many people, but just really, really honored and humbled to be a part of a school and a program that I love so much.
If you have questions for Chris Berg, just type in your question on the text box on any of the streaming services you're watching us on right now, and we'll get to a few of those as we go along. Chris, first, I want to ask you, what is your greatest memory of being a baseball player at Tennessee? Is it something from the World Series, or is it another moment that maybe sticks out along the way in your career?
Well, there's a few different ways I can answer that. And what I would say is my favorite memory is when Stevie Daniel hit the grand slam to put us up in game 2 of the Super Regional. That's my favorite memory, because it was just the first time where I really thought we're going to the College World Series. And, I think, a lot of people don't realize this. We didn't even make the tournament my first 2 years on campus. We didn't even make the SEC tournament. And, back then there was only 8 teams that made the tournament, and the league was always so competitive, but we were number 9, I think, both years. And so there's a part of it when you don't even make the conference tournament that makes the College World Series just feel like so far away. Like, how do you even get there? 64 teams and the whole deal. But then you get in it and you're like, okay, we've got to beat Wake Forest, Middle Tennessee State, and Tennessee Tech. I think we can do that. And we advance. Then you get in the Super Regional and you got to beat East Carolina. And they had this gaudy record. But, we've been playing Florida and Alabama and LSU. We can beat East Carolina. I think we can do that. But even though that'll get you to Omaha, you just can't really get your mind there until you're actually there. And so when Stevie hit that home run and it put us up 6-2, that was the first time I really, in my mind, was like, we're going to the World Series. This is real. And so the dog pile after that, we were the home team that game, so we had to still go out and get 3 outs. But the dog pile after that was just about as good as it gets. Now, you still got to go try to win national championship, but for a program that, again, hadn't even made any kind of postseason for 2 years, really 3 years, because in 97 they didn't make it either. And so, 98. But it was just – it felt like a mountaintop moment, really. Wow, we did it. So – hard to top that, even with a hit or a record broken or whatever. To me, man, that's why you do all that stuff, is to accomplish something as a group. And the fact that we were able to do that will always be number one for me.
Let's take a couple of questions from our viewers. Chris, first, Josh asks, what was your favorite game or series you played in? Was it the World Series? Was it that Super Regional? Or was it something else?
Well, I'd say my favorite game was game 1 of the Supers, I think we were up. I'll get this wrong, but I think we were up 9-2. And Chad Tracy hit a 3-run homer to the moon in the bottom of the 8th to put them up, I believe, 10 or 11-9. And I was due up second that inning, and I think I got a hit with 1 out to kind of get the party started in the 9th. And we ended up scoring 4 in the 9th, and I think winning 13-11 to win game 1 at East Carolina. The place is packed. Their crowd is as good as any in college baseball as far as just passionate. So that's probably my favorite game. We beat Western Carolina on a Tuesday night that year where we only took like 16 players to the game, and we drove 4 hours on a Tuesday night. We were down like 12-6. We had no reason to come back and win the game. We came back and won like 15-13. Again, I'm getting it wrong, but that was a kind of a real unifying moment where it's just kind of like we're a little different. This team's got a gear. We know how to take a punch and we know how to respond. And then selfishly, I would say on a Tuesday night, we were playing Arizona State. I have no idea why in the world we're playing Arizona State on a Tuesday, Wednesday. It was like May. It was like late April, early May. It was late. And we had this nasty rain delay. My dad drove down from Louisville on a Tuesday night. We didn't even start the game till like 10 p.m. And I hit a walk-off grand slam in the 10th, maybe, after we had made a nice comeback to send it to extra innings. So that was my buddy Casey Myers, who I played on Team USA with, was catching. And I came up with the bases loaded and 1 out. And he goes, if you're going to end it, at least do it with a grand slam. and I hit like a 1-0 fastball into the fog. You know, it was one of those rainy, foggy nights. You literally couldn't even see it other than the fact the left fielder stopped running. So that was a pretty cool game too.
Let's take another question from our viewers. Leslie asks, what does this team need to do for Tennessee to beat those Vandy boys this weekend? You've had the opportunity to broadcast some Tennessee games. I know you've seen Vandy as well. What is the biggest thing that Tennessee needs to do to get back on the right track and to do it against such a talented team in Vanderbilt?
The game of baseball, when it's good versus good, will always be about pitching, defense, and timely hitting. It will always be about pitching, defense, and timely hitting. I really think Tennessee's going to pitch and hit this weekend. I think as much as their offense struggled last weekend, they're just kind of a different team at home, and I expect them to play very well offensively this weekend. I don't know exactly what that run total looks like, but I expect a better version of Tennessee's offense this weekend. I think it's going to come down to how well they defend. Vanderbilt can drive you nuts on the base pass. They can play some of the small game. And just quite frankly, Tennessee's defense has not performed up to their standards in conference play. So to me, I think it will come down to how well they catch the ball this weekend for them to win this series.
How do you – okay, if you're struggling a little bit like Tennessee has been, in a conference this difficult, how do you flip the script? Because there's not a get-right opportunity over a weekend. Everybody's good. How do you kind of turn that ship in the middle of a season when maybe you're struggling a little bit and there's just another top 25, top 15, top 5 in this case team coming in?
Well, there's no magic formula to that. You just have to play better, right? And so, I've listened to a lot of what Tony's had to say, and he knows. I mean, people kind of view Tony as still this young head coach, and yeah, it's just year 6, but he's been in the league for a decade plus now. And he was part of an Arkansas program that everybody remembers how high the highs were, but I believe he was on staff the year they missed the conference tournament too. So like Tony's seen, and obviously he was part of the rebuild. He built this deal to where it is, right? So he's taking his lumps on the front end. He knows how hard the league can be, and him and Frank Anderson's seen everything the game of baseball has to offer. So those two guys are certainly measured. They know how to right and steady a ship. And there was a magic pill, I'd be selling it. It starts with playing better baseball, throwing strikes, catching the ball, making the other team earn every base they get. And then at some point, one of your position players got to come up with a big performance. Somebody's got to come up with a Max Ferguson, Evan Russell, Drew Gilbert kind of weekend or moment that flips the script, right? And they have capable players. They have some players I think are going to play this game for a long time. one of those guys needs to put the team on the back at some point. That doesn't mean you got to go 8 for 10 with 4 home runs. But when the moment's there for you, somebody's got to come up and deliver.
Let's get another question from our viewers. Evan asks, nothing finer than sitting late-night grand slams at Lindsey Nelson. Evan says, love you, man.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. That was a fun one. I will never forget that night. There was about 16 people left. So
not too many. Hey, John Wilkerson, I'm sure, was one of them.
Oh, yes. John was there.
I've got to ask you one more question before we get to some keys to the game. You guys for ESPN are both in stadium and broadcasting from home. I know you and our good friend Tom Hart had a call last night. What are the challenges for an analyst doing a game from home versus a play-by-play guy? I know from my perspective, doing play-by-play is tough, but you have to kind of break down things. Does it make it easier in some ways, or is it more difficult top to bottom?
It's the only thing easier is life.
Okay. I can believe that. Yeah.
Like with 5 kids and 1 million carpools to run, the only thing easier about calling a game from home is that you're still home. But obviously, the game itself is much more difficult. I mean, there's nothing from an analyst perspective that makes things easier being at home. So, I think early on we had some frustrations. Actually, early on, we were just grateful to be able to do in games with COVID and all that stuff, right? But I think as our leadership decided that this was something we were going to continue, there was a level of frustration. For me, selfishly, like I said, from a quality of life standpoint, it makes things a lot less complicated. We still do get on the road some. I'll be in Fayetteville for Arkansas and A&M next weekend, so we do get on the road some. But from a broadcasting standpoint, it's just very difficult. You don't get to talk to nearly as many people to get information. You don't get to see things quite as clearly. You don't get to feel things the way you would if you're live and in person. So, there's some specifically with Tennessee, there's been some moments that I've been fortunate enough to be on the call. Evan Russell's 3 home run game against Vanderbilt, Max Ferguson's walk-off home run against Arkansas. I was fortunate to call those games, but it would have been really nice to be in Lindsey Nelson Stadium for those moments. So, hey, look, it is what it is. So we try to do the best with what we have.
It sounded great last night, I can tell you that.
Well, thanks.
Let's get into some keys to the game real quick. You talked about just having to play better. What's the biggest key to flipping that script and just playing better? Is it to relax a little bit defensively and just make the plays, or is there some switch that Tony and the coaching staff can say, here it is, just go out there and get it done?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, at this point in this deal, you've been on campus since August. You've taken plenty of ground balls, right? At this point, you have to be able to go out and execute the plays that are in front of you. And with Andrew Lindsey, especially throwing the ball tonight, like, it's a power sinker. The ball's going to be hit on the ground. So, to me, I'd say key number 1 is infield defense. You got to be able to turn some of those double plays. There was an opportunity last weekend against Arkansas. Do they turn the double play? Do they not? I don't know. But the next cat's a 3-run homer.
Right.
Right. And so you have to be able to turn double plays. You got to be able to make difficult plays on the ground on a fast turf with an offense that's athletic and a pitcher that's going to produce some ground balls. Like that's just part of the game plan when Lindsey's on the mound. So to me, I think if you're watching the game at home, the way the infield defense performs is going to have a lot to do with the outcome of the game.
From a hitting standpoint, is there something that you can do, something that you can unlock against this talented Vanderbilt pitching staff?
Well, my guess is Tennessee spent a lot of time this week working velocity. I haven't seen who Vanderbilt announced for game 1.
I haven't.
It's usually Carter Holton, but he's missed his last 2 starts. Who's a left-hander that's up to 95, 96, hammer breaking ball, change up. Like, it's a first-round kind of left-hander. But even if it's not him, and maybe it's Bryce Cunningham or other guys that they've gone to, Vandy's staff is always elite in the velocity standpoint. So a lot of 94 to 98 power stuff. That's what you're going to get with Vanderbilt. So my guess is the offense has spent a lot of time working on velocity this week. That's not necessarily brand new to Vanderbilt. The Southeastern Conference has tons of power arms. But the offense last weekend, I just think, again, it's, there are some young players, but what I keep calling this Tennessee offense is it's more new than it is young, right? It's just a group that hasn't played together a ton. And I just think, and the stats bear it out, they're just better at home. And so I think because of that, I expect Tennessee to have enough offense to win the series this weekend, or to at least be very competitive in the series. It's just going to run prevention is going to be, I think, the thing they've got to focus on.
Chris, really appreciate your time this Friday. Certainly enjoy watching you on ESPN, SEC Network, and congratulations once again on the Tennessee Athletics Hall of Fame.
Appreciate it. Just to the fans, stick with them. Stick with them. Hang in there with them. You're never out of it till the math says you are, so hang in there with them.
Absolutely.
All right, Brian, thanks, dude.
VFL, Tennessee Athletics Hall of Famer. Appreciate him joining us here for First Pitch Friday. The Vols started off SEC play with a series sweep over a ranked Texas A&M team with 27 total runs in the series. Let's take a look back at that Tennessee sweep over the Aggies.
Good evening. It is a beautiful night for baseball here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, Robert M. Lindsey Field, the first time that the Volunteers take their home field against an SEC foe.
First SEC series here from Knoxville. Volunteers and Aggies. It's Texas A&M on the board early. Here's the 0-2 Ahuna. High fly ball left field. Backing up is Kent.
Can't make the catch. Kicks off of his glove into the corner. Ahuna racing around second, digging for third, and they're going to hold him there.
Leadoff triple for Tennessee. Ripped into the gap and for extra bases. Here comes Denton. He's in. Now Dickey to the plate.
Tennessee's put 4 on the board in the home half of the first inning.
Swing from Bose heading to the right center gap. That's dropping. Tears on the run. He lays out and makes a sensational grab. It's a double play. Fastball got him. 1-2-3 for Dolander. He's back. First pitch of the inning. Blake Bird. Good night. Corner underneath. Bird settling. He's got it. Tennessee gets SEC win #1.
We move to the bottom half of the inning. A run wins it for Tennessee. Tied at 7. Pitch stroked in the air. Deep towards right. He'll make the catch. Tagging at third. Racing home. The throw is offline. Tennessee walks off the series with a win. Jared Dickey does it for the Big Orange. Texas A&M, a home run in the first inning. Aggies lead 1-0. Zane Denton a chance to tie the game. The 1-2. Hit high in the air towards left. Going back is Lavalette. And Tennessee has the lead.
3-1 into right field, and a diving catch made out in right field. What a play by Christian Scott.
Zane Denton turns on one. High, deep, left field. And Zane Denton has left the yard again.
A pinch hitter, Dylan Dreiling, will bat.
2 runs are in, and it's a bases-loaded double for Dylan Dreiling.
The 1-2. Swing and a miss. That does it. Tennessee says hello win column. It's the first ever sweep for the Big Orange against Texas A&M. Break out the Big Orange broom. This is Tennessee baseball.
Great memories there. Try to make those same memories again this weekend against Vanderbilt. We now are proud to welcome in here on First Pitch Friday, Associate Director for Special Events for UT Knoxville alumni, Jordan Pruitt. Jordan, thanks so much for joining us here on this Big Orange and First Pitch Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having everybody, Brian. We appreciate you as always. Stepping in for Dwayne Wiles today, our Associate Vice Chancellor. Can't be replaced, but I'm going to do my best to cover for him while he's out. We got a busy weekend on Rocky Top, and I just want to share with all of our fans and our alumni what we ask of everybody in our alumni network, which is to do 3 things, which is be proud, be involved, and be invested. We start by being proud, wearing our big orange every Friday is one way you can do that. Another way, if you're a Tennessee resident, is by going to your county clerk and switching that license plate to orange. We've got some awesome UT license plates already on the road, almost 3,000 of those on the road already. And all of those purchases support our student scholarships here at UT. And we're proud of that effort that we've been able to put forth this year, and we hope to continue that progress. So we ask all of our alumni to go out there and switch that license plate to orange. The next thing you can do is be involved. You can use our professional resources and leadership opportunities, attending in-person and virtual events just like this one. And one of our newest ways to get involved is through Connect UT, which is our online alumni networking platform where alumni can meet with students and other alumni around the country, share career advice and information with each other to help propel each other in their careers and professions. All you have to do is visit connectut.tennessee.edu to sign up. That is a free resource to all of our alumni and family around the country. So find your opportunity to join us at Connect UT. And last but not least is to be invested. We are invested in our students every day here on campus, and it takes all of our alumni around the country to make the opportunities for our students to excel here at the University of Tennessee. We ask all of our alumni to give one gift, any size, every year. You can do that today by just visiting alumni.utk.edu and selecting that Make a Gift option in the top right-hand corner. As a Tennessee alum and as a fan of the Vols, of course, I'm excited to beat the Commodores this weekend. So let's wrap up our show and let's count down to first pitch starting now.
It is time for some college baseball.
And we welcome you to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Another sure-to-be sellout crowd of more than 4,300 on the banks of the Tennessee River.
Beautiful day at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
It looked like he barely swung at it and it went over 400 feet.
Christian Moore's not stopping. Christian Moore scoring.
Dickey sends it high, sends it deep, it's gone!
Oh my goodness. Strikes out the side.
This will be some kind of ovation here.
This is what makes our game the best game in the world right here.
Thanks so much for joining us for First Pitch Friday. One more thing, our Lucky Vol fan of the week is Jane Hunter. Jane, be on the lookout for your Vol prize pack coming your way soon. Be sure to tune in tonight as the Vols take on Vanderbilt at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. Vols are scheduled to be back in action Saturday at noon on ESPN2 and Sunday at 1. Also on ESPN2, looking forward to seeing a lot of people at the ballpark and as well at our event before the game tomorrow. This wraps up another season of our virtual athletic events here. We look forward to being back next fall for football season as the Vols begin another promising season under head coach Josh Heupel. Until then, and as always, go Vols, go Lady Vols. We'll see you next time.